It's time for Peptide Talk, featuring Garrett Pope. Now, here is your host, Joe Zapata.
What's up, guys? I am Joe Zapata. Another week of Peptide Talk. I'm here with the man himself, Garrett Pope, Peptide King. What's going on, Garrett?
What's up?
What is going on, man? And before we start, just a little house cleaning we like to do. Please like and subscribe. It just helps us bring more views in here. And also go to equipfoods.com. Use promo code JerseyJZ and selected plenty of protein they got. They got some of the best protein that I use. So go again, equipfoods.com. Use promo code JerseyJZ and get your protein needs. All right, guys, let's get started. So Garrett, I want to talk about first, there's this new thing on there called the Hulk Peptide, and it's getting a lot of push on the internet. So please, why don't you break down what is the Hulk Peptide?
Okay, Hulk Peptide is something that's fairly new. A lot of people haven't heard of it yet. And if people have, they've kind of skipped over it. They've kind of just ignored it. It's called follistatin or folastatin, whatever way you want to pronounce it, 344. Okay. That's the technical, medical term for it. Okay. Basically, to put it in simplest ways, it's a powerful, naturally occurring protein. Okay. Now it is administered in peptide form, but to break it down, it basically inhibits myostatin. Myostatin is a protein that inhibits muscle growth. So everybody's got myostatin in their body. And basically what it does is it inhibits your muscle growth. Now, what I mean by that is that doesn't mean that, oh man, that's, the person out there that's the hard gainer, they're going to turn around and go, oh my God, that's not why I'm getting big. You know what I mean? No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is if your genetic potential is to be 240 and shredded, okay? This follistatin, by basically inhibiting the myostatin, okay, could possibly allow you to be 340 and shredded.
Wow.
There's no end to it. Now, granted, I know somebody's going to right away ask it because of what I've said in the past. Well, wouldn't that be bad? Wouldn't that be bad for the heart? You said the bigger you are. Of course it would. Of course it was. The body just knows size. It knows, okay, we have to pump harder, whether it's muscle, whether it's fat, we have to pump harder. Okay, we have to pump blood harder. The heart has to work harder. But are you going to tell me honestly if you could be? Listen, granted, how many people are going to be 340 and shredded? Not many. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's Ronnie Coleman. I'm trying to say to you, like, with all due honesty, there's not many people on the planet that are going to be that, okay? There's not many people that are going to even take their lifting and their eating. Because understand something, just because you take follistatin doesn't mean, oh man, this is awesome, I'll take follistatin and I'll just train. I'll train like crap and I'll eat 3 meals a day. No. You aren't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Now, genetics plays a part in this, correct, too, right?
Absolutely. If your genetic potential is crap, you're not going to blow up from this. But you will look different. You will have the potential to. But again, it all comes down to what I've said from day one, okay? And I'll say it again. It all comes down to training. It all comes down to diet. I don't care. You could take all the follistatin in the world. If you're not training, if you're not eating right, you ain't going to get bigger. You ain't going to get. Do you see what I'm saying? So everybody's always looking for the magic pill, the magic injection, the magic whatever. It goes hand in hand. This is something that if you're doing everything else right and you add this in, whoa, now your potential can be unlocked. And let me just explain a few things to you here because I don't want to skip anything over, okay? So I'm going to go over a couple things here specifically, okay? Follistatin, the way it works specifically, it binds to and inhibits TGF, okay? Which basically is myostatin, and also myostatin suppresses muscle growth. Follistatin allows that suppression to be taken away. The second thing is this is actually being used in wasting disease patients now. I've talked in the past about HGH with AIDS patients. Well, also with people with severe muscle atrophy. And also this is being used in people with muscular dystrophy. That's huge, because if they're using this in that, because here's the key behind it. I know the first thing I let off with was, oh, you could be 240, it'll allow you to be 340 in rep. That's why it's called the Hulk peptide, because I think technically when Banner turns into the Hulk is supposed to be 500 pounds and ripped. And that's why, we're using this term, because, well, the Hulk was 500 pounds and he was, he had veins popping out. And that's why we're using this. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to think, because we put up the ad for the Hulk peptide for this week and stuff. And I've had people message me, on socials and ask, what is the Hulk peptide? What is that? And one person, believe it or not, there's something out there called melanotan, which I don't know if you know what that is or not. It's a peptide that basically it tans you from the inside out. And they actually, I kid you not, asked me, man, does this stuff turn you green?
Jesus.
I didn't respond, because there's some things that listen, I'm going to say it on there. I know the person that asked me the question listens to this. Bro, if you're that, come on, man.
Now, what are the side effects potentially with this stuff, that the Hulk peptides? This is new. Since it's new.
Okay, it's new. Here's risks and safety. Okay, and I'm going to go over it with you right here. This is key right here. Possible overgrowth of muscle. Wow. A lot of people will turn around and go, whoa, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Remember something. We've talked about it in the past. There is something as being too big. You have genetic potential. I mean, think about something. How tall are you again?
5'8", but you say I'm 5'4".
5'8". No, I'm not. 5'8". Grow since I left Jersey. I'll give you 5'6", maybe 5'7" if you're on your tippy toes. But okay. But the point I'm trying to make is, in most cases, somebody who's smaller, here's a perfect case. Nick Walker. Okay. He's not genetically supposed to be that size. We know that. Everyone knows that. Okay. Nick Walker's not supposed to be that big. That's a classic case of muscle overgrowth. Okay. What are the side effects of that down the road? Somebody his height isn't supposed to weigh what I weigh. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm 6'2". Somebody that's 5'5", they're not supposed to weigh that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's not supposed to equate out. And gone are the days of the Sean Rays, of the Lee Labradas. I mean, those guys, man, they were built, they were big, they were shredded, but they weren't overbuilt. Do you know what I'm saying? That overbuild didn't come in until, and I'm a huge fan, but it didn't come in until Yates. Yates is the first one that came along that was overbuilt. Okay. But back in the day, you look at those guys and they were built to what their body's potential was. Now you look at a lot of the smaller guys. I mean, he passed away, Dallas McCarver. Okay. Come on. You know what I mean? We're talking beyond natural, I shouldn't say, I take that back, beyond genetic limitations. Because we all know, we've already talked already, nobody's natural. You know what I mean? We're not talking about that. Genetic limitations. And genetic limitations come into play with this follostatin. Now, the side effects beyond overgrowth of muscles, you got to remember something. And I've talked about this with Winstrol. So your muscles get bigger, your muscles get stronger, but who's to say that your tendons and your ligaments are? You're so right. You might, oh my God, you might jump up. I'm just going to throw on there 80 to 100 pounds of size. Okay. But I guarantee you your ligaments and your tendons can't handle that. Now, you've been training your entire life. Okay. Let's say, for example, I'm going to use a perfect example. Okay. Man, how old were you when you started training?
Oh, must have been like 15, 16.
There you go. Okay, I was 14. Same thing. So we've been training our whole lives. Okay,
Yep.
whole lives. If we were to take this stuff, we have trained long enough that our tendons, our ligaments, it is used to this.
Mm-hmm.
It is, our tendons and ligaments are trained. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
They're trained under loads. They're trained. They can handle putting on more muscle. Muscle's getting larger. It's the people that you see that are 170 pounds and they've trained for 3 years, and all of a sudden they're going to go up to 260 in 4 months. We have a problem.
Yep.
Their ligaments, their tendons aren't going to be able to handle it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's that rapid growth really fast, and you haven't been training that long. And that's where, okay, now the muscles are stronger than the ligaments and the tendons, and you're going to have issues. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think there's a generation gap. Like when we were younger and training at 15, we did not just jump on gear. We let ourselves work out and do it. Today's stage with social media, all these kids, because I know my son, they're in high school and they're jumping on gear and they're not even fully developed. You know?
Really? Okay. So wait, how old your son that you're talking about right now? How old is he?
So my son right now, he's 16, you know, he's working out, but like I said, he's not doing anything. He's just working out, trying to build the muscle, but he knows kids who are 18, 17, who are doing stuff, doing peptides, doing crazy shit already.
See,
you know, and it's just like, that's not what it was when we were, you know, we built ourselves, we built our base and then went from there. Exactly.
Absolutely. And you know, it's funny you say that, because I've done this 3 weeks in a row now, and I'm going to do it again one more time right here. I'm going to send you something. It's really funny you say that. All right. I'm going to send you right now a picture if you want to throw that up there once you get it. Okay.
Yep.
Now, once it comes through, you tell me, and then I'll explain. Actually, once you put it up, I'll explain what it is. So
okay.
I'll wait this way rather than explaining it to you and then explaining it again. That's just, we're going to waste our time. You know what I mean? So yeah. So once you put it up, I'll explain. So it's there. So as far as the negatives go, along with, you know, possible ligaments, tendons, it's one other thing too. This is pretty. Now, is it available? Yes, it is available mass across all online. You can find the other things. BPC. This is everywhere now. Everywhere. This is a little more secretive. This is a little more, because a lot of studies haven't been done on this yet.
Yes.
This is still now. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be straight up. I've told you also. I went on a deep dive on this over the last few weeks, because this was a new one to really sink into for myself also. So I went into a deep dive studying this for the last few weeks up on the entire thing on this follistatin 344, okay? Prior to that, no, I didn't know much about it. So I went into a real deep dive. I have always been, for the most part, a human guinea pig. I will, again, let's try a small dose. I'm excited. I'm going to try this stuff out. Okay. Really? And just see. Now, they say you're supposed to be taking between 100 to 300 micrograms daily of this. Okay. So I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I do start it out, I'm going to start it out at the lowest dose, 100 micrograms daily. I always tell people you can always go up in dosage on anything. It's better to go up. It's better to, well, that's not enough for your body. Okay, add a little bit more than starting at a high dosage and go, oh crap, this is too much. And then backpedaling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you going to stack it with anything? Let's say a test or anything, or you don't?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Low level test. Absolutely low level, which I always use, you know what I mean? But a very low level, you're talking 200 milligrams a week. That's it. You know what I mean? And I'll continue to take my Glow, my NAD, and my HGH, which again is all in low, dose forms, as I've, spoken about before. I don't do anything in high dose forms. I really don't. I just don't. I'm very, very lucky, I'll explain in a minute once you put that picture up.
I didn't come over yet.
Didn't come over yet?
No, it didn't come over. So maybe you checked, because I did not get the picture yet.
Let's see.
Didn't even come over yet. So
let's see. I just switched over to text SMS. Let's see if that goes through.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes I have to switch over, and we'll see if it comes through.
Okay, yeah, I think it come.
We'll see.
I'll let you know as soon as it comes over.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, it'll come through. But I've always been pretty lucky as far as I've got good genetics.
Mm-hmm.
Here straight up. My dad's older now. He's diabetic. He's very thin. He's frail now. Did it come through?
Yeah, I got it now. I'm working now. Okay. Go ahead.
He's diabetic. But he was my dad was when I was younger. He was fat. Okay.
Okay.
Straight up fat. My dad, at one point when I was younger, when I was little, he was 260 pounds at one point. Okay.
Really?
At only 5'10", I think. About 5'10". Shorter now, but I think he maxed out at 5'10". But he was 260. Now we're not talking 260 muscle. We're talking 260. And he was fat. He had one of those guts that started up here, underneath your chest and go over. And, now my mom was always and has always and still to this day very lean. You could always see the veins in her arm. She was always very lean and very vascular. My mom has always watched what she has eaten for the most part also. Okay. She even eats healthier now as she's older. But when she was younger, she always ate well also. Okay. My dad was the one that was always eating everything he wasn't supposed to eat. My dad was the one that was smoking his entire life when he wasn't supposed to be smoking. So as far as genetics go, and you look at it, and I tell people, I have the ability for the natural size from my father. He went up to 260. It's fat, but to have that ability to go up to 260, that's still that genetic potential there to put on weight. But then I have the genes of being lean from my mother if I watch what I eat, this and that. Now, if I didn't watch what I ate and I just ate like a pig and I didn't work out and I didn't do anything, of course I would be fat. Okay. Or if I just ate like a normal person, watched what I ate and didn't train, I'd be probably thin. And you know what I mean? My sister has my father's genes. My sister doesn't work out. My sister eats crap. And, we'll leave it there.
Okay. I got your picture, by the way. Ready? I'm gonna pull it up right now.
And I'm gonna explain something here. Okay. Now, I still have the trophy from this currently. Okay, it's over on my counter over there. I keep it up there. Okay, it's the only trophy that I've kept, and I'm gonna explain something to you here. I had just turned 18 years old in this picture. This was my first competition. Wow. It was the New Jersey State Championships. Remember John Kemper, Diamond Jim? Yep. He used to put on, I don't know if he still puts on the Jersey State Championships. But I know he passed away, but I don't know if Diamond Jim still does. Okay. It used to be the Jersey State Championships, John Kemper's. And that was the first show I did, April 2nd or 4th. Okay. It was either the 2nd or the 4th of April. I remember specifically it was the Saturday before. It was on the Saturday, and the next day was WrestleMania. There's certain things I remember. It was that, and the next day was WrestleMania. I remember that specifically. That sticks out of my head. But anyway, so I had just turned 18 at that picture. Now I graduated high school. I had an early birthday, so I graduated high school when I was 17. Okay, so graduated high school in June. Was 17 years old. Didn't turn 18 till that October, and this is 18 that April. So I was 18 for 6 months. Okay. So for 6 months I was 18 here. That's 100% natural.
Oh, wow. That's all natural.
I mean, when I say that's protein, diet. Now, this is to show people as far as genetics go, that's not 1 minute of cardio. Wow. I didn't do 1 minute of cardio for that show. Wow. That was strictly my metabolism. I ate a super strict diet, super strict. Okay, this was at the show was at Bergen Tech in Hackensack. Yeah, Bergen Tech in Hackensack, and that was the year Vinny Galante won the middleweights there. Tommy Potenza was in it. It was the guest poser was from the year before. He used to date Kemper's daughter, Bo Matlock.
Oh, okay.
Bo Matlock. I had to think of his name, Bo Matlock. So that was 18 years old. You can see, my face was a lot younger there. Totally. That was completely natural. There was, when I say legitimately, I'm not talking about testosterone. I'm not talking about a pill. I'm not talking about nothing at all. There was absolutely nothing. That was 100% natural. I had good genetics.
Mhm.
And that's what I try to tell people. That was 18 years old, 100% natural. I remember Tom Terwilliger. It was Tom Terwilliger and Steve Stone that used to do Muscle Sport on the MSG network. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do.
It was
I do.
a bodybuilding show. Yes,
Yeah.
and they used to muscle. And I remember Tom Terwilliger backstage at the show. And listen, these guys were pros. They knew. He came up to me backstage at the show and he said, "Hey, kid." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're all natural, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes like this. He goes, to go to the next level, to compete with the men, you're not going to be able to do that, right?
Mm.
And I understood. Listen, I'm not knocking what he said. I understood what he said then and there.
Mhm.
But at the same time, that was a very depressing comment to say to 18-year-old me, because it was like it just smacked you in the face right there.
Mm.
Like, oh, this was good enough to beat teens, but yeah, to go against the big boys, it's
Now you were competing. So when was the first time you actually took something? You're a little bit older, 20, 21?
first time. Okay, believe it or not. So we talked about it previously in different weeks. I went from that show all the way to 260 pounds, still natural.
Wow.
Now that was eating, oh my God, close to a 8,500 calorie diet a day.
Mhm.
Eating 8 to 10 times a day. I mean, if I wasn't training, I was eating.
Mm.
But I was young. So by the time I was 19, Richard Bay show, as we discussed before, I was 260 when I stepped on stage on there. Okay.
Wow.
And that was still natural. Believe it or not, I didn't touch anything for the first time until 21 years old.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think 21. I'm almost sure 21 years old the first time I used anything. Okay.
Okay.
And the first time I used anything, it was Deca and
Sustanon. Okay.
Sustanon. I had a thing for a minute. Deca and Sustanon. And I remember, here's what I used. And I understand now it's a different day and age. My training is completely different. I understand the science behind it. It was different. I was young then. I was a kid then.
Mhm.
What I used to chase when I was younger, from like 14 years old till mid 20s, I used to chase two things. One was the pump, and number two was muscle soreness. If I
Okay.
wasn't sore the next day or the next 48 hours after a workout, to me, man, it was a total waste.
Really?
I didn't understand back then, the process of hypertrophy, the process of getting stronger. You don't have to be sore after
Mhm.
every workout.
Mhm.
Now, you should be able, by the time you're done with a workout, with a leg workout, you should be walking funny. Your legs should be wobble, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're crippled for days on end. It doesn't mean you should feel a little soreness in your chest. It shouldn't be where it's
Mhm.
raw to the touch. And back then, I was young. I didn't understand that. And I was always chasing. I had to be sore at all times. At all times, I had to be sore. Literally 7 days a week, I better be sore. Okay.
Wow.
And I chased that pump all the time. I had to get that muscle pump in the gym. And that was also, while the pump is important, it was also dumb to do certain things, the rep ranges I used and this and that, just to achieve a pump,
Mhm.
when I was younger. So the first time ever was, so mind you, I just laid out there. I loved the soreness, loved it. First time I ever used anything, Sustanon and Deca, I got depressed. And the reason why I got depressed was, it wasn't the depression that most people think of. I got depressed because all of a sudden, I wasn't getting sore anymore. The Deca wasn't allowing, I was recovering. I was so young. I was recovering so fast from workouts. So I would literally go into the gym, trash my legs.
Mhm.
And where I used to be sore for 5-6 days afterwards, all of a sudden, I was sore maybe the next morning, but by the next night, did I even train my legs?
Wow.
And it was because the Deca was making me recover so fast.
Wow.
I didn't understand that then. And this sucks.
Mhm.
Because in my head, I needed that soreness. Now, I didn't realize back then, oh my God, it's allowing me to recover quicker, to train more.
Mhm.
I didn't understand that concept then. Then it was just, I'm not sure what is going on. This sucks. This stuff, I don't like this stuff. I don't like, and I didn't have fun on it. And I think I was supposed to run it the first time. I was told, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. I was told run it for like 10 weeks. And I think I ran it for like 6 weeks and I stopped because I was getting that frustrated.
Wow.
I was getting that frustrated because I wasn't even sore. But what I didn't realize is, and I had no idea was, I started trashing myself more and more and more in the gym. So I would go in and I would do squat sessions in the gym, just stupid things. I mean, absurd things. 10 sets of squats going all the way up to 500 pounds and then all the way back down. Okay. So I'd be doing reps of 25 and then sets of 25 and sets of 8, all in the same workout. Then from there, we'll go over to the hack squat. Pound out 4 sets on the hack, then go over to the leg exercise. I mean, it was what I was doing was ridiculous. But what I didn't realize, being on the deck of Peptide, I was growing, but to me, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because to me, I just wasn't getting that muscle soreness. You know, so that's why that trophy I keep, because that show was 100% natural, and that's the only thing. That's the only one that, to be totally honest with you, actually, after all these years, mean anything.
Wow. No, it was your first one. Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds weird, but it's the only one that means anything because, listen, I did that all 100% natural, and I was against kids like you just brought up. That's why when you brought up about your son, I got strong interest in that. I went, really, because I was against kids 18 years old, 19 years old. Okay. You'll know this. The kid that won the show before me, the year before me, was Craig Richardson. Remember him?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I
forgot that name. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, he won the year before me. Craig Richardson from Body Works in Patterson, Maz's gym.
Yeah, Maz's gym. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, these names.
He won the year before. And
but he was juiced out of his mind.
Oh, out of his mind. Out of his mind. I went against people on stage that was juiced out of their mind. And what I was told by the judges afterwards was I won on conditioning because they said, listen, there were kids, and everyone's referred to the kid. There were kids that were I was 6'2" on stage. There were kids that were 5'6" that weighed the same as me. Okay, but they had a water over them, or a softness to them, or they weren't tight. And what I was told by the judges is you won because of conditioning. And and it's funny because at the time I still have the shirt and everything. I competed for Bob Bonham for Strong and Shapely Gym.
Okay, Bob Bonham,
it's funny because I don't know how old he is now. I know he's older than me.
Bob Bonham or Greg?
Greg.
Oh, okay.
I remember meeting him at Strong and Shapely. I was 19 at the time. It was when Bob used to have the Champions Day. Remember?
Yes. Champion, yeah.
And he was there, and I met him. And I remember still this, to the day. And I know he was older than me. That's all I know. I don't know what Greg's age is.
He's 60. He's 67.
No way.
Yeah, Greg's 67.
Oh, so he was in his 30s. I didn't realize that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's 67 now. He's pushing 70.
Man, he looks good.
He does look good, right? I tell you, he looks great. Yeah, Greg looks great.
Honest to God truth, I thought he was about 10 years older than me. I thought he was like early 60s.
No,
I didn't know that.
He's late 60s.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, right. He looks really great.
I had no idea. But I remember meeting him at Strong and Shapely when I was a teenager. After the show. But yeah, so I had competed for Bob Bonham, Strong and Shapely gym. It was his team because the two main gyms at the time going against each other was the team of Diamond Gym and the team of Strong and Shapely.
Yep. 100%.
And it was to see who could take the most trophies. Yep.
Now we just talked about the Hulk peptide, and we talked a little bit about you with the gear. Let's talk about Cypionate. It is actually one of the safest, I believe. Testosterone's around. They use it for TRT. I like it myself. Garrett, tell me about Cypionate, why it's so popular. Why do people use it?
Number one, it's the most prescribed testosterone for men, TRT, all that. Okay, you see all the commercials on TV and everything for TRT and everything, and usually 9 times out of 10 it's testosterone. It's usually one of two that are prescribed: testosterone cypionate or testosterone enaphate. Okay, those are the two. They're not out there prescribing sustanon and all that stuff. It's cypionate or an athlete, and they're very similar. Okay, it's just about the esters. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Cypionate, yes, it's the reason why it's prescribed the most. It's the most naturally occurring, like your body. It mimics that the most. Okay. Now, personally, what I find now, this is what I do. I use cypionate for about seven months, maybe 8 months out of the year. Always 7. Sometimes it might be 8. And then the other 4 or 5 months, I use an athlete.
Oh, okay.
So I switch it up all the time. And I do that for a reason, because I believe you give your body a break of anything, you switch esters and you see results. Now, I also believe it for another reason. When I'm on cypionate, 2 things happen. Number 1, I do hold a little bit more water. Not crazy, but a little bit more. Number 2, when I'm on SIP, my strength goes through the roof.
Wow.
An athlete I use usually during the summer months more, because an athlete, if I use an athlete, that literally I hold no water, and it's easy for me to get shredded on an athlete. Shredded on an athlete. So what I usually do is during like September till about May, we'll say, I usually use cypionate. Okay. Get stronger on the cypionate usually. I got to be careful with it, because even at 200 milligrams a week, my strength goes through the roof. It's stupid just off of that, how my body responds. And then I use the anathate the other times of the year during the summer, because the way I train outdoors. Okay. So down here in Florida, oh man, it's beautiful. November, December, January, February, all those months training outside. It's great, okay, because I have the bay door open. It's great. The summer months are brutal, training in 90 some odd degree heat, but it keeps you lean. It keeps you lean. So I always switch to the athlete during the summertime. And the same thing, I always stay at cypionate is 200 milligrams I stay at a week. An athlete, I stay at 250 milligrams a week. There is a little small difference. You always want to use a little bit more of an athlete. Now, I know these numbers I'm throwing out there. There's going to be people out there going, why? Those are replacement dosages. Yeah, I don't use the 500, the 750, the gram. I don't do that crap. Number 1, I don't need to use that. Okay. I really don't. Number 2, unless you're competing, and when I mean competing, I'm not talking about just like the local show in Sarasota or something. I'm saying, unless you want to be going to the national level or the pro level, why would you be doing all that?
Yeah. We got a question here from Frank T from Nutley, New Jersey. He said, Garrett, what do you believe is better, cypionate or propionate? So what propionate? You talk about ethynate, propionate.
Okay, cypionate, hands down. Here's why. I microdose the cypionate, like we've talked about before, and you take that daily in microdoses. Propionate, you have no choice. You can't take propionate once a week. That's a fast-acting ester. It's out of your body fast. You have to take that in daily shots.
Okay.
So it's real quick. It's out of your body. A lot of people use propionate leading up to a competition, because like I just said before, cypionate will have sometimes that you retain water with that. Okay. So with the propionate, there's no water retention at all. So bodybuilders will use that leading up to a show. They'll switch and they'll use propionate the final couple weeks before a show. But as far as for using it just for in general, cypionate hands down. Put it this way, I've never used propionate in my life. Never used it once in my life. Never, not once in my life, ever, even, getting rid, nothing. Never used it. So,
All right, guys, this video, just so everyone knows, is for educational purposes only. We're not, doctors here. But Garrett, I wanted to ask you, if someone wanted to go on their first cycle, what would you recommend somebody to take if they were your client?
Depends what their goals were.
So let's say they wanted to get jacked.
Okay, how about this? Let's go with an example here. Give me pick an imaginary age.
Okay.
Pick an imaginary height and weight, and then tell me where they want to be, and then I'll tell you.
Okay, so because you take these factors in, all of these factors, correct?
Oh, absolutely. See, there's not something like what I would say for like like let's say it was you, right? Okay, what I would tell you compared to somebody who is 22 years old and goes, yo, man, I'm 140 pounds and I'm trying to get, oh, it's night and day.
Yeah.
And also take it's height, it's age, it's weight, and it's where you want to go too. So that all has to be, that's why when I see people putting their stuff online about psycho recommendations and this and that, and these, like you brought up a little while ago about the social media, these poor kids are reading this, and these poor kids are going, oh, that's what I have to do. No. Never, ever, ever. Every single person is different. And the same way I say to people, what works for me, even not even this stuff, even training, what works for me might not work for you. I might be a huge fan of a certain movement in the gym where other people just can't do it physically. Okay, then rather than racking your head against the wall, let's find something that you can do physically for your body. So,
Yeah. So when someone comes to you, a client, and let's say they come in, they're 35 years old. Okay. They're maybe 180 pounds, 5'7". And they say they want to put on muscle, everyone's different. Garrett, what would you, and they want to take some testosterone or something. What would you recommend?
do they have fat on them, or are they in shape already?
Okay. So let's say they have fat on them already.
Okay. And that's why I asked that.
Okay.
First thing I would say is low level of testosterone.
Okay.
Second thing is low level of either real HGH or HGH secretor, as we talked about last week.
Correct.
Okay. Personally, I would go with real HGH, as I've discussed prior.
Yep.
But one of those two. But again, low level of it. Next thing I would say then is, okay, well, you're 180 now, but you're soft. You've got love handles there. You don't, I see fat on you. You know what I mean? You're not hard. So I'm not going to say, yeah, let's get on a DECA. Let's get on unless you're lean already, because what you're going to do is you're going to retain more water. You're going to, with something like a DECA, you have to eat a lot in order to grow. That's the last thing somebody who's already got a little chubbiness on them. You know what I'm trying to say? We don't want that. So the best thing for them is low level of test, low level of, let's just say an HGH or an HGH secretor, okay? A microdose, and I mean when I say microdose, even a lower level of microdosing of retatrutide. I'm talking like 1 milligram a week, not even 2.5, okay? I'm talking going out at 1 baby amounts, because I'm not trying to make them lose a ton of weight. I'm just trying to change their body, you know what I mean? And then a very low level of Anavar, and I've talked about it before. I'm a huge fan of Primobolan. Now, a lot of people, they don't like Primobolan because they want to get jet. And Primobolan changes the shapes of your muscles. And the best way to use that is this. I'm not saying he wasn't using other things, but think about the perfect roundness of the muscles of Flex Wheeler. He loved Primobolan. Primobolan gives you an insane muscle roundness and muscle fullness to your muscle bellies. And the person I use all the time as a great example is Flex Wheeler. He had the perfect, I understand what's happened to him now and everything, but I'm saying during his competing years, he had the most round, full muscle bellies I've ever seen. It was pure perfection.
Yeah. Yep.
100%.
And
so,
like I said,
I would go a low level of Primo with a low level of test, a very low level Anavar. You couldn't even, if you don't want to use the Anavar, you don't have to. And then the HGH and this low retatrutide. Now the retatrutide, 8 to 12 weeks max. Stay on it. The test, you can cycle if you want. You can stay on it if you want. That's up to you. The Primo, you run that a little bit longer. That you run for about 15 or 16 weeks. And the Anavar, I know. Listen, what's his name out there? Larry Wheels. He ran it for a year straight at 20 milligrams a day. It's an oral that goes in and out of the liver. No good. I tell anybody with Anavar, 6 weeks and get off.
100%. And that's why, Garrett, you are really knowledgeable. You don't give cookie cutter programs. You you train pro athletes, you train celebrities. People go to you because you do know exactly what to do. And I get my advice from you all the time. I got a question here that came in an email, which I saw you post this. And this guy, Vic from, hold on. He says, hold on one second. He says, his name is here. Hold on 1 second. Nelson R from New Jersey. And he said, hey, Garrett, you put out an excellent post. You can go to a gas station and pick up beer, cigarettes, junk food, vapes, and yet peptides are bad. What a joke. You said it perfectly.
Yep, I posted that this morning, actually. So, Nelson, you either saw that on my Instagram or my Facebook, and I applaud you for that because I just posted that this morning, maybe about 10:30 or somewhere around there. So, good find there on your part.
Yeah.
And it's the honest to God truth. And what I posted on there was I took it one step forward further because then I put in my words there. You can find all that, like that just said. Yeah. But then I said, people make me laugh because people are out there putting alcohol in their body, putting chewing tobacco in their body, putting Twinkies and Ho-Hos in their body, putting vapes in their body. People putting the COVID vaccine in their body. Listen, for anybody that wants to sit there and tell me, well, these peptides, they're not fully tested. Was the COVID vax? Hell no. But you put that in your body.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear nothing. Listen, anybody that is COVID vaxxed, don't tell me about is this fully tested or this and that, because you sound retarded right now.
You're right.
And then it's the honest to God truth. It's you look at it, you go, okay, well, you put all this stuff in your body, but you didn't think twice. But now all of a sudden, I don't know if this is safe. I don't know if I should put this in my body. You got to be kidding me. Since when did you worry about putting things in your body? Or, half the girls out there, or actually half the guys too. How many dicks did you put in your body and not think about it? I'm just saying.
That's going to be a clip.
No,
You're right.
I'm just saying. So, when it comes to this, that's an excuse people use.
Yes.
I don't know if it's safe. No, you know what? You're lazy. You don't want to do anything. And you know what? I'm going to tell people straight up right now, these peptides that we talk about and everything, if you're not living a healthy lifestyle, listen, I'm not saying you have to compete. I'm not saying you have to be a diehard. I'm not saying you have to be a gym junkie. What I'm saying is if you don't at least eat healthy, if you at least don't work out, and what I mean by work out is, listen, I'm not saying you have to be jacked. I'm saying, you know what? Do you do some cardio? Do you do some weights? Do you train a couple days? That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to be a diehard. But what I'm trying to say is don't waste your time trying to find the latest, greatest peptide if you don't care about anything else that you put in your body. If you're out every weekend drinking, then don't bother, okay? Because half these peptides, they don't mix with alcohol. They're not good to mix with alcohol. So what I try to tell people, if you're out every weekend pounding them down and hitting the bar, you're wasting your time. Don't worry about the peptides, okay?
Yep.
If you're out every weekend because you want it down here, the big popular things, everybody's out on the boats on the weekend. Well, everybody's drunk but then they're putting the peptides in their body and don't waste your time. Don't waste your money.
100%. I mean, I know a pro athlete that you trained who used to drink all the time, and you used to tell him stop drinking and do this, this, and this. And for a season, he was good, but I mean, and I'm not going to give out names, but there are pro athletes you trained that you said, get off the drinking and all the other stuff. And let's concentrate on this.
Yep.
And
but for one season he did.
Yeah, he did.
He was remarkable.
Yeah, he was
remarkable, but he wanted to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to live it up. And, he eventually drank himself out of his sport.
Correct. 100%.
So hey, I hate to be mean, but you got what you deserved.
Yep, 100%. I wanted to touch base on another topic that just came up. We've talked about Ozempic and all the stuff and the GPL-1s. There's been some breaking news about Ozempic, and you actually told me about it today. We talked about it. Tell us what's going on with the new finding about Ozempic.
Okay. I literally just really read about it this morning deep, okay? I heard about it a little bit. I pulled it up this morning, really read into it. Apparently, they're finding that Ozempic at all levels, we're not talking about just older people, so I want people to understand this, is causing osteoporosis.
Wow.
Now, anybody, so this way you know, because I know people like to challenge a lot. Well, I don't want to hear that. I don't. Look it up yourself. Anybody that wonders, where did I get this? You can look it up yourself. Okay. While there's a lot of things I know about off the top of my head, and there's certain things that also, oh yeah, I'll look up and I'll read about the latest thing. Listen, I didn't know Ozempic was causing osteoporosis until I just read that. And now there's studies coming out that they're getting early osteoporosis. People in their late 20s, their early 30s are now developing osteoporosis. Now, I have said from day one with the Ozempic, there's got to be side effects with this. There's got to be. It's a diabetic medication, and everybody's jumping on it for weight loss. But then they're staying on it forever, and there's got to be side effects with it. And now some of the side effects, I'm not talking about the bird face and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about listen, nobody wants osteoporosis. And what a lot of people are now finding it is making the bones very, very brittle. Well, I would then ask myself, or whoever's doing these studies, I'm sure is also looking into it. If it's making the bones brittle, I guarantee you it's also making the tendons and the ligaments brittle.
It's got them. That makes sense.
And that's where my head is going to go to right away, because you look at something like a cortisone shot, and I've told people forever, never get a cortisone shot because it literally wreaks havoc on your ligaments and your tendons, and that's the first thing it eats. The second thing it eats is bone. So they go hand in hand. So anytime I hear something eats away a bone, well, I bet you it eats away your tendons and your ligaments too, and you're going to have some real issues as you go on.
And that's not retatrutide, though. This is
no, not retatrutide, not tirzepatide, nothing. It's just the Ozempic, which is the non-brand is semaglutide. The generic name is semaglutide, but it's the Ozempic that is what's causing it, not the other things.
Yeah, and you don't have any clients you put on Ozempic or anything. No, you don't put anybody on that. Nope.
I try to steer people in a different direction than that. Some people do Zapata, some people now I try to tell everybody retatrutide because of all the benefits. It's been proven to be the best one out there. No side effects, etc. But yeah, I don't put anybody on semaglutide. In the beginning, I did in the very, very beginning when that was the only game in town. But there's so much that has come out that just craps all over it. And and to be honest with you, it's a money-making scheme. You see now they have Ozempic pills. Everything is, listen, the doctors and big pharma, I shouldn't say the doctors, big pharma knows they're making a killing on this. So of course, why wouldn't they?
100%.
They're making up on it. Yeah.
Yep. Also, I think you sent me that there's an article you sent me about dogs. You were saying your dog, you were putting it on, I think BTP 157. What were you putting
BTC 157. I've had him on that. Bam Bam. Okay. I've got 3 dogs: Bam Bam, Pebbles, and Vader.
Vader.
Vader's the one that wanted to pee on something. Well, almost peed on something last week.
Yes.
And Bam Bam about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago. I didn't even see it happen, but he's a half Jack Russell, half Chihuahua. So he's got long legs, and he was he runs fast. And he was in the yard apparently running whatever, and he came back inside and he was holding his rear left leg up and not putting any weight on it. And right away, the first thing I did was pick him up, look at his foot to see, did he step on something? And then the next thing I went to was CCL test, which a CCL in a dog is an ACL in a human. Same thing. It's the same thing. It's just dogs don't have ACLs. Or CCL. So I did the CCL test on it with the same way it's the same test you would perform on a human for the most part. And it was intact, but there was some movement. So it was a partial tear, not a full tear. This was on a Saturday, did take him to the vet on that Monday. And of course, the vet right away, I don't know, there might be a full tear. Well, hold on a minute, let me show you. There's a little partial here and this and that. Oh, yeah. And I'm sitting there going, I'm paying you for this. You know what I mean? And then the next thing, well, we want to put them on anti-inflammatories. We want to put them on painkillers. The first thing that I say is, well, if you put them on painkillers, that's just masking the pain. That's not fixing it. That's masking the pain. Well, and then we should explore surgery. Well, of course you want to explore surgery because that's a whole bunch of money that you make. And I said, well, I thought for a partial tear or even a possible full tear for a dog under 30 pounds, surgery is not recommended. And he just looks at me. He goes, so you know something. You were hoping that I was the dummy off the street that just didn't have a clue and was going to come to you and go, please help me and my dog. I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? And when I explained to him, I said, when I told him, I said, I did the CCL test, and he looks at me like this. He goes, show me what you did. And I showed him, and he goes, well, yeah, yeah, okay. And I'm like, it's the same thing as a human, So, so I put him on the BPC 157, and it has been helping unbelievably. Okay. Unbelievable. I used an anti-inflammatory for him for only 5 days, got off of it, immediately started using the BPC 157. Now I don't inject him. I got capsules where I had them made for me, capsules, and I'm breaking the capsules open. So I just put the powder in his food.
Oh, okay.
So it works perfect. I'm not going to inject. That's unfair.
Yeah.
To inject him daily. You know what I mean? So what I do is I never condone capsules or anything for humans, but for a dog, yes. For an animal, yes. You get capsules made. You can break them open. Just put the powder right on. That's what I've been doing. Now the newest study is about dogs as they age. Their mitochondria is failing, and that's what I sent you the other day.
Yeah, that's what you sent me.
And they're actually recommending NAD plus 500 for animals now.
That's crazy.
Now I've got my 3 dogs. Pebbles will be 12 in June, and the boy has just turned 10 in December, so they'll be 11 this December. So technically, they're all considered senior dogs, So I am probably going to, within the next month, start all 3 of them on NAD 500 also. I just want to see if I can get capsules made for me through the compounding rather than injections, because but if I can get capsules made on that also, I'm gonna or what I could do is, to be honest with you, I could probably just get the lyophilized powder form and break it up that way and put it in. I have different options, but anyway.
Yeah. Our peptides, by the way, are peptides that we use. They only really come in injectable, or you can get them in pill form.
You're starting to find now they're advertising pill form for certain ones. I've seen pill form for BPC 157 lately. I've seen pill forms for a couple other things lately. I would never use it. Okay. Everything that I'm under, that I've ever learned is it has to be used injectable, not pill form. For an animal, it's different. Okay. For an animal, for humans, no, injectable. That's the only way it's going to get into your system and properly used. Because you got to remember, a lot of these peptides that you look at, GHKCU, which is the copper, the NAD plus, these naturally occur in your body. So you're putting these levels back into your body. Yeah. It has to be done through injection, not through, and that, that's another thing too. Just real quick. I tell people this a lot, and I tell them, yes, it's an injection. Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. Bro, it's an insulin needle that's done in the skin. It's not an intramuscular needle before I forget, just real quick, what we talked, I forgot to bring this up. The follistatin that we talked about earlier, the whole peptide. Yep. That does have to be injected into the muscle, not the skin. Into the muscle. Okay. While we're talking right now, it just clicked in my head. Okay. It's injected. Now it can be injected like with an insulin needle, but it has to go into thin layer of skin, muscle. So shoulder, but that has to go directly into the muscle. That's the only way it's going to work. Okay. That's not a subcutaneous injection. It just popped in my head just now as we're talking. So I wanted to add that. But a lot of people, oh man, an injection, I don't know if I can do that. I hate needles. Then maybe this isn't for you. Maybe this isn't for you. You know what? You hate needles, you hate injections, but look at some of the other stuff that you do. Okay, whatever. Again, I'm not going to cast judgment. You do what you need to do. But if you can take a little injection of an insulin needle that I'm telling you, this is going to change your life. Yeah. You go back to drinking every weekend. Have fun.
When it comes to injecting, shoulders? Do you do your ass at all or no?
No.
Never done your ass. No.
No.
What
And the
about
reason
your
why is
quad?
it's so thick.
Okay.
Think about something. The thickest muscle in your body are your glutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your glutes. I don't care where. That's why if you remember back in the day,
Yeah.
Intramuscular, you would have to get the 1.5-inch needle, and that would have to go in your glute. So if you had, a big injection, if you had multiple things in one, that would always go in your glute. Okay,
yes, correct.
Because it's extra long, you have to go deep. An insulin needle will never hit your glute muscle. I tell people all the time, whether you're a man or you're a woman, don't take it in the ass. So,
What about your quad? Would you put in the quad? No. You put in your quad? Okay.
Absolutely, because it's so thin there. I go on the outer part of the quad where there's literally no fat at all. What I put in my quad all the time that I love putting in my quad is the B12. Okay. I take once a week B12 injection. Okay. That's a full ml. Okay. And I use it with an insulin needle. I go right in my quad. You could actually feel it go into the muscle because there's such thin skin there. You're going right into the muscle with insulin needle. So you can go the microdosing of testosterone. You can go the B12. You can go other things in your quad. Yes, the subcutaneous stuff, the reticulocyte, you just pinch a little skin. You go in there, and if your stomach, some people say they get bruising around the stomach.
Yes.
If that happens, you can go in your inner thigh because you could pinch a little skin there. There's other places subcutaneous that you could find to inject if you do get the bruising around your stomach, which some people do. Okay. They have extra sensitive skin. If you get the bruising around your stomach, there's other areas to go if you don't like that bruising.
Now, do you believe in
anything like that?
Do you believe in site injections to grow that area? Like I know people who inject in their calves for some reason to make their calves grow, and I'm like, okay, well, do what you want to do. What do you think?
I know it's funny you say that because I think we've known the same people that did it. Honestly, they would inject and then they'd walk funny for literally they'd walk all gingerly and this and that. And they would do it. And I never understood that because then they'd be like, well, I can't train calves. And I'm like, you're missing the point. You know what? How about this? Inject in your butt or your shoulder or whatever you want to inject, pick somewhere else to inject. That's just, a general site. And how about this? Train your calves 4 times this week. They'll grow better that way. But people do like the site injections. Listen, over the years, I've seen guys get calf implants. I've seen guys, and
we know the same people who've done that too.
Yes. Yes. And you want to know something? I was about to bring up. You and I both knew him. I don't know if he's around anymore. He used to drive a vet. He had long blonde hair. He had pec implants. Remember?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yep, I remember.
He used to wear the cut shirts all the way down here.
Yeah, we know who he is.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. He had pec implants, and that was, that was the first time I ever saw that, and it was just like dumbfounding to me. Like it was just like, what is, I don't get it. But yeah, guys getting calf implants and pec implants and all this different, the women getting butt implants and listen, the way I look at things is they're all muscles. Why not just train them?
That's what I say. Just train hard. You can do it that way.
Just train them. I hear guys go, yeah, but one person said this to me that was thinking. I talked him out of it. This was down here about getting pec implants, and he says, yeah, but I saw the doctor went over. There'll never be any sag in the chest and this and that. And I go, bro, you see the way women's implants leak in you're putting a foreign thing in your body. What if that leaks? What if then you have to have emergency surgery to take? It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not it's not worth it. Listen, train your chest. Here's the way I look at it. You have sagginess in your chest. Your chest doesn't look the way you want it to, whatever the case is. Okay. I'm just using chest as an example. Well, that's motivation to train it harder. That's motivation to train it from different angles. That's motivation to use different rep schemes. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep, 100%. Now, you're in Florida. I knew briefly Rich Piana. Rich Piana was down in Florida. He used to inject the silicone right into his biceps and all that stuff. That's from what I heard. Allegedly, I don't know, but that's what I heard.
The
synthol and all that stuff in his bicep, whatever. What do you think about that stuff? Think it works?
Well, okay. Does it? All right. Joey's nightclub, Clifton, New Jersey.
Okay.
Flashback machine. Joey's nightclub, Clifton, New Jersey. There was a little Guido guy that would come in every single Thursday night. Okay. And it literally, he would inject synthol before he would come in. So he would wear a super tight t-shirt and he would inject synthol into his biceps and his shoulders. And in a t-shirt, he just looked deformed. It looked bizarre to me. So he'd have these big biceps and nothing else on this big round shoulder, and then these little pecs and these little back and little, it looked completely dumb. So he got what he was looking out of it was attention. You had the females in there who didn't know any better, who would go, "Oh man, your arms are so big. Look at your delts." And look, who didn't know any better. Anybody that knew better knew, it's synthol. That's, that's what that is. That's, you don't have that. There was a guy down here, he's dead now. I worked with him briefly. Total tool. And he used to inject the synthol in his biceps only all the time. All the time. And everybody used to call him, there's going to be people listening to this right now and they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Reverse arms. That was his name, because how everybody would have a big hanging tricep, and naturally, your tricep. Listen, anybody out there that thinks your biceps should be bigger than your tricep, no, that's not the way it is. Your tricep is 3/4 of your arm. Yep. So I just like to tell anybody out there, because everybody's always working their biceps. You want big arms, you get it through working triceps, not biceps. But anyway,
triceps for guys.
Yeah, yes.
Triceps for guys, curls are for girls.
Yes, we're getting a little, but he used to inject in his arms, biceps all the time, and he would have these big round ball of a bicep. He had these little tiny back of the arms. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he would roll his sleeves up. And he wasn't a kid either, this guy down here.
Really?
This guy was at the time like late 30s, early 40s. And he actually he was an idiot. He had a drinking problem. He had a lot of things. And he ended up dying in his sleep. So who knows, but he'd do party drugs, and he was an oddball. But synthol, no. I would never. You couldn't pay me. And listen, I tell people this, and anybody that knows me knows this is true. I will do anything for money. Okay, and I tell people this all the time. Thank God I was born a male and not a female, because if I was born a female, I'd be down in the docks with my legs spread on a daily basis. That's how much I do anything for money. Okay. So I'm being honest. So I will do anything for money. You could not pay me enough to take synthol. Exactly. And that's the truth, because it makes no sense to me. I call it fake muscles. It really is fake muscles, because you're not doing anything there. You're not trading. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. We used to bounce together at the clubs.
Oh, yeah.
And fights would break out. And I'd be in the middle of the scuffle while my partner would be in the corner hitting on every girl in the place. And they'd be like, "Hey, your buddy's in the fight over there." And you're like, "Oh, hold on, I'll be back." And that was you.
Go, I'll be right back. and then you just wait here. And then I come back to it.
Yes. So I know you were always with those girls hanging out.
or my favorite was the time, and you remember this. I was up by the DJ booth on the little thing, just hanging out, leaning on the rail, okay, the podium thing, just leaning on it. And you were up by the front at this point and hanging out, and I could see you could see me. And guy comes up to me, yo, man, you got any 50 Cent? I looked at him and I go, "I'm not the DJ. That's the DJ." And he goes, yo, can you ask him? I need 50 Cent. And I turn around and I look at him like this, and I reach I've always been musically challenged. Okay. I've used music to train, and that's it. Okay. I don't use music for anything else. I use it for a motivator. Okay. Yeah. And it's like Metallica, AC/DC. So I've never, and I reach in my pocket like this, and I go, and I toss him a quarter. I go, "I got a quarter. Make that good."
Yes.
And he goes like this, and he looks at me. He goes, "Yo, bro, really?"
Yes,
And you remember that. Because he came up to you and he goes, yo, your boy, what's wrong with him?
Yeah. He didn't know 50 Cent, the rapper song in the cup.
I go, here's a quarter, you know?
Happen all the time, man. But another great week, everything. Garrett, I will talk to you next week. We'll have another show, another episode. Like and subscribe, guys. We'll be on every week talking about your favorite peptides and gear. All right, Garrett, I'll talk to you later, my man.
See you next week.
See you next week, brother.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron.